0 to 7 means you're looking at a function between 0 and 7, right? So you're looking at sum n equals 7 to 10 of something. You're looking at a sub 7 plus a sub 8 plus a sub 9 plus a sub 10. You're looking at this, 2 minus 3 over n equals 4 to infinity. You're looking at a4, a5, a6, dot, dot, dot. Good question. Other questions? We'll see here in a second. I would remind y'all that some of y'all need to get to the board, right? The half your grade comes from showing me what you do in the class, and so, you know, even if you pulled an 80 on the exam, you know, by being here every day, you're looking at a 60 for your homework. So if you have an 80 on the exam, an 80 on your next exam, and a 79 on the one after that, and you have a 60 for your homework, for your presentation, just by being here every day, then that's 69 point something, right? And so you even if you have good grades on your test, you got to get some presentations up there, because that's half your grade in the class. My office is always open, so if you're struggling or you're nervous about it, I know some people are scared to present and are nervous about presenting, and I fully understand that. If you could have seen me when I was an undergraduate, I was scared to death to go to the board. I literally, when I had stuff to write up on the board, my hands would shake, and I would, on each line where I wrote down what I did, I actually would turn it over on the back and explain, because if somebody asked me a question, I just knew I was going to completely freeze up and not be able to say anything. At least that way I could turn it over and say what I had written on the back, which hopefully the night before was coherent. So it's easy to look now at me, stand in front of all of y'all and be able to talk for an hour every day. I give talks to crowds of 250, sometimes 500 people, and they actually pay me big money to do it. I get to go to California this summer for 4 days and hang out at Santa Barbara on the coast, while I get paid a couple of $1,000 to give seminars on, believe it or not, how I teach this class. Some of you YouTube videos that Austin has created, I'll use some of those to try to show what it looks like, so some of y'all may be stars of my talk. But there was absolutely a time when I was petrified to stand in front of a class and petrified to speak and explain something. All you've got to do in my class is write it on the board and just write down on the back of your page if you have to. This is what I did here, this is what I did here. Everybody in here is on your side, which is nice, because everybody in here wants to see you succeed at the board. That will not be true when you're out there in the real world. When you're out there in the real world defending stuff, and your colleagues are all people in your industry that work with you, they're all trying to get promoted. It's like sharks in a tank. You will not always have a friendly audience in the real world. So you have a friendly audience here. Now is the time to be brave and step up to the plate and put some stuff up where the people really want to see you succeed. Because everybody in the class, nobody's going to ask you a question just for the sake of trying to trip you up. They're just asking you a question because they're trying to understand, right? Now that's not true in the real world. The real world, we ask questions. You come do a job interview here for a PhD, for a position like in this department, I ask questions not like I ask you questions. I'm not asking to see if I understand. I'm asking to see if they understand. I'm asking to see if they can field a question. I'm intentionally trying to ask questions that I believe they don't know the answer to based on the talk I just saw. Because I want to find out how they're going to perform both under pressure, and I want to find out if they know the stuff, because they may be in front of the calculus classes down here one of these days. So I want to know if they know their mathematics. So I'm not a friendly questioner when somebody's interviewing for a job in front of me. I've worked in industry for 2 years, When we had those job interviews, I was brutal. I asked evil questions. I've done the interviewing over here for the honors program, when these kids are going up and they're like trying to get a scholarship, a Beck Fellowship, or one of these nationally known scholarships. And in there, I'm brutal too. I'm like, well, what would you do in this scenario? And I ask a really tough question really quickly. And it's a tough question. It's complicated. It has some ethical parts to it, and it has some intellectual parts to it. And then I just look at them. Because that's where you have to be. If you think you're going to get a $10,000 scholarship to go to grad school or something from one of these foundations, you've got to be able to look as sharp and confident as I do right here today. But you've got to be able to do it as a senior. I couldn't have done that, so I didn't get any graduate scholarships. But that's where you have to be, and these kids think they're there or want to be there. So my job is to make sure that they're ready. So when I do this play interviews with them, I'm kind of brutal. But in here, we're not, right? Everybody in here just wants to understand the problem so they can get it right on the next test. That's their only goal. They don't want to make you look bad. If anything, they want to help you out. Oh, try this, right? If anything, people try to help each other out in here. So keep that in mind, but do come see me if you're worried about presenting, and I'll see if I can't help you over the hump. Okay, I'm ready to see some problems. I think 255.2 is the first outstanding one.